most of the players that I work with in LA, there's a good camaraderie. Mm-hmm. And, no matter who's playing first trumpet, and maybe somebody else feels like I should be playing first, or I feel like I should play first. You can't think like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have to go in and go, we're a team, and we're going to get this done. And maybe they cast us incorrectly. And it happens. I've been cast in the first trumpet chair where I'm surrounded by way better players that have this kind of music than me. But I got to bang it out.
Right.
And if there's if there's some little specialty thing, and I think the person, if John Lewis is sitting next to me, I'm going to say, man, why don't you play that? Yeah. You play that. If it's a high A, he's going to go, why don't you play that? Yeah. Well, let's get the job done.
Right.
We joked one time because John and I were both on sessions across town, and he was on a session where he said he was having to play a bunch of high Gs, and I'm here playing these butt-naked classical solos, and I'm like, they should have just, chloroformed us both, and then we wake up in the right house, but he went over there, and I'm sure he did a fine job, and I got through it, respectable enough. Mm-hmm. Is it as good as it could have been? Probably not, but it was good enough.
You did that's being a pro.
And in my business, we have to be able to do all these things to a certain level. Mm-hmm. Because it's like you were talking about the kid that wants to play double high C. Well, the gigs that you get from just playing a double high C will get you enough money. You'll be at the Mission in line getting a bowl of soup. There's not a lot of gigs out there where you just get to play double high C. Right. You have to play musically, and you have to play well. You have to play in tune. You have to cover a lot of styles. You have to be a great second trumpet player and a great third trumpet player. And the players that do that stuff, we were talking about how do I get discovered or whatever. Mm-hmm. Right. That's how you get discovered. Yeah. There's trumpet, like we talked about Larry Hall. I worked in the theater with him for 20 years. He was my second trumpet player. I like playing with him. Mm-hmm. We play together really well, and so do many of my other colleagues. Rob Shear and Dan Finero and many, many other names I could give you that I work with that we know how to play under each other mm-hmm. as well as over the top. Mm-hmm. And so that's a luxury. And it's amazing how many trumpet players don't get that.
Right.
Orchestral as well.
Right. Yeah.
It's not that doesn't just go into the lead trumpet world.
Right.
There's orchestral trumpet players that I hear, like third trumpet players, these guys that blast, and I equate them to like bass trombonists, because they've never played lead, they tend to overblow. They look at their instrument like it's a solo instrument or something. Not all of them, of course. Like Bill Rockenbach is who they work with. They play so musically, but Bill Rockenbach plays tenor trombone. He knows what it feels like to play lead, so he knows what it should feel like. Underneath. To play fourth trombone. It's not a specialty thing. It's just fourth trombone. Right. Then you got a trigger so you can play the lower notes. It would be the equivalent of a first trumpet player playing twice as loud as the section. Mm-hmm. And it's anyway. I think that's a good analogy of it. Yeah. But I don't like that as a first trumpet player. I like the section blending and sounding nice and being able to sit on top of it without working too hard.
Wayne, this is just. I'm going to go back and watch this over and over myself. And I encourage anyone who's watched this to do the same, because there's so much wisdom and knowledge and in everything that Wayne is saying about trumpet playing, about life, about how to be a good musician, how to be a good colleague. Curious, you've done some amazing things, the Oscars, the movie dates you've done, gigs that you just kind of sit back and go, wow. Where am I? This is so cool.
Well, there's been a few of those. The first recording session I ever did, I had that feeling because I was playing with Malcolm McNabb and Warren Looning.
And what was the movie?
George Grant. And the movie was called Another Stakeout, Emilio Escobar's movie. Okay. And I was playing fourth trumpet, and I've been never more terrified to play fourth trumpet in my life.
So this was 1980.
Oh, this is 30-something years ago. Yeah. Oh. And I'll be very quick. I have to tell you a quick story about it. The contractor at the end of the session said, the player said you did a good job. I said, well, thank you for the opportunity. And I turned in my paperwork to get paid, And he goes, yeah, because I want to put you on my list. I'm like thinking, yeah. And he goes, I'm put you on the bottom of my list. And he saw my face. I go, and I laughed, And he goes, you want to know why I'm going to put you on the bottom of my list? And I go, oh, yeah, I guess I'd like to know that. And I didn't put it together. He goes, so if I got my list of players here, which one of my players that I've been hiring for years and years, tried and true, that have proven themselves, should I fire so I can start hiring you? And I laugh. I go, well, that makes perfect sense, Of course, put me on the bottom. I'm glad to be on your list, I said. And he goes, trust me, as they die or piss me off or retire, you'll move up. I now play first trumpet for this contractor. That all happened. Yep. Every one of those things happened. Yep. And so now I'm his first trumpet player. And he's 93 years old now, and he still plays tennis every week. He's in great shape. And he still contracts a bit, and he's a great guy. He contracted the Carol Burnett show when it came from New York to L.A. Wow. So he's been around for a long, long time, and he got me on many, many great gigs. And I got to meet some great people like Peter Matz, who wrote the Carol Burnett theme.
Right.
And so I got to work with him. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I got to do, we're talking about things that are a feather in my cap or whatever. Most recently, we did a Carol Burnett 50th anniversary special.
Nice.
So I got to play lead trumpet on that. So I got to play, Bill Conti conducted it. I got to play that sound that I've been hearing, which is Warren Looning. That big sound. That there's several people that did it, but the one that ran for years and years is Warren Looning, and that's the sound to have,
right,
in my opinion. So I got to play that, and it's giving me chills. Talking about it right now.
Me too.
Because when I was playing it, I was going, wow, because it's iconic thing, be like playing the Jackie Gleason theme, that big sound, Johnny Bello,
Or the Tonight Show theme.
Yeah, Tonight Show, but getting to play it. So that was really cool. A couple of other things, getting to meet Sammy Nestico and do a record for him for the first time after knowing that the very first big band chart I ever played had his name on it.
Right.
I was 7th grade. I played the Queen Bee. First big band chart I've ever played was Sammy Nestico chart, and now I'm his friend. And he's been very kind to me, and I've done 3 different recordings, 2 with him and 1 with Quincy Jones, where we did all the charts. So those are things to me. Getting to do, I had the opportunity to play West Side Story to picture with the LA Philharmonic several years ago, and through a recommendation from one of the players in the LA Philharmonic, they were going to New York, and Jim Wilt is his name in LA Philharmonic, and he used to play in New York, so the manager asked, hey, what kind of player do we need to get to do this in New York? And he goes, well, this guy Wayne Bergeron just did it here. So on his recommendation, I got called to go to New York, and they, paid me a pretty good sum of money and put my wife and I up in this really beautiful hotel on Columbus Circle with a view, and we're around all these great restaurants, and we got to spend a week in New York and did a couple of days of rehearsal and 3 nights of the show. And I got to sit between Joe Alessi and Phil Smith, undoubtedly 2 of the greatest brass players of our time.
Right, yeah.
And so for me, and going into somebody else's orchestra is always uncomfortable, especially as like a commercial, and I'm getting to meet Phil Smith.
Right, yeah.
And so I meet him before the game. We're going to talk over how we should play the book. And he couldn't have been nicer. He goes, and I was so nervous. He goes, oh, did you just play all of it? And I go, no, I'm not going to play all. You got to be kidding me.
That's why you're here, right?
I go, I'll play, the mambo, and I'll play these things. And when somebody gets tired, somebody else take over. And so we split it up, and he played, what he should play, and I kind of played what I should play. And I played a couple of the little classical things, and I made him play.
Yeah.
His little cup muted solo. And in the movie, that goes on a long time. So we switched back and forth on it. And so I let him play some of the jazzy stuff, and he sounded great.
Right.
But anyway, man, it's getting to sit next to him and hear, hear that sound, that old school first trumpet sound. He played something in that show that's this little line that just goes up to a high C. It goes, I don't have perfect pitch. So, ba, 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 da, da, da. And it goes to a high C. And the sound that he made on that high C, it was the best description. It was like he just threw frosting over the orchestra and then blended it all over the string section. And then this perfect cake was made. That's the best. It was the most musical thing. And I told him, I go, you cannot teach that. What you just did, I have no idea how to explain except use an analogy like I just did.
Yeah.
And it was the most glorious, and that's giving me chills. It was the most glorious thing I've ever heard. And I wasn't playing that like in my hotel room going, what was that?
Yeah.
But it has to do with playing against other players and how he took his sound and he just put it into the string section. That's some stuff you can't teach.
Right.
That's, internal great musicality. So that's, for me in my career, I've gotten to do some really cool stuff. I played for Quincy Jones and done stuff for Jerry Hay, who's my hero, and getting to play for him is always just like amazing. So those are the things that stand out to me. I got to play with the Cleveland Orchestra. What jazzer, guy gets to say, when am I going to get to do that? I played this Pixar show. So it's kind of quasi-legit, too. It's film music.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah.
And so I had an assistant, Unfortunately, Michael Sachs couldn't play the concert because he had a wedding. But while I was there, I took that lesson, and it was really, really cool. So those things they're just kind of standouts to me because they were special. And then, of course, getting to do, working Gordon Goodwin's band, those are all things that are important because I feel those are going to be, those things will be my legacy when I leave.
Right.
Those recordings will be playing with Tom Kuba's band and Bob Florence's band, and my big band legacy will be what I leave behind. And so that stuff's very important to me as well. Those other things were kind of for my ego. that they're fun for me to play. And I'm like, oh, look at this. My mother would be so proud, man. Look, I'm playing with the New York Philharmonic, man. It's really, I don't take for granted that I got that opportunity to do that. And a lot of players could have played that show and played it very well, But because of that, the conductor, David Newman,
connections.
He's calling me now. I do movie. I played first trumpet on his last couple of movies, and I'm playing this Green Eggs and Ham Netflix thing that's coming out. This children's thing, and so I'm playing first. So it all evolves into other work and making new relationships and having people like you're playing and like you as a person. So your career evolves, man, and you get other opportunities. So. It's been really cool, man, and I look at what I do for a living, man, and I never take it for granted for a second.
That I had it taken away.
Yeah, I don't deserve this. I've worked hard for it, but I feel fortunate that preparedness meant opportunity, and fortunately, I was prepared enough. But I had a lot to learn. I knew from that first recording session, even though I got through it okay, I know what my inadequacies are. Mm-hmm. And I still know. Mm-hmm. I know what I can do and what I can't do well. And I can shuck and jive my way through. I'm a pretty good salesman too, so I can tell you that this is okay. But I know that there's somebody that can do it better. Whatever that is, And is it good enough? Yeah, I guess it's good enough. But so anyway, that's how my thought process works. So I'm still going at the trumpet. I'm going to be going at it. I'm going to be 61. My plan is to go to 70, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And then get out. Really? Even if there's more work happening in LA, I'm hoping to have myself set up by 70, and then let somebody else do this, what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. There's already younger players moving into the studios that are good players. This guy Rob Shure I mentioned, he's a fantastic player. He's my daughter's age. He's 38 years old, 39 years old. And we've become good friends, and I've known him since he was in college, and he'll be one of those guys that takes care of the old guy. Right. He'll take care of me because I've been nice to him. So I always tell him, just put me on fourth trumpet. I'll stay out of the way, man. Keep me relevant, in the music business. But I would like to stop at some point. I'm not stop playing, but stop doing that and stop competing in that work because it's music by the pound. It's my day job. Mm-hmm. I get much more enjoyment out of being a guest artist and going in and doing a master class and talking to people and being a little bit entertaining and making people laugh. That warms my heart. Mm-hmm. When I see when I say something and people laugh, I'm like, oh, I've got a connection here. Yeah. And so I present my master classes in a funny way because of that. I try to incorporate some comedy into it because it makes it interesting and it makes it fun for me too. And if I see people laugh, I get less nervous. Yeah. Right. And so all of those things, are what I want to be remembered for. But then maybe I get a teaching gig. Maybe I move to a smaller town. I don't have to live in LA. I've been there my whole life. I'd love to stay there, but I'd like to be able to live, I don't have to live real large, but LA is really, really expensive. Right. And when I start thinking about taking my pension and things like that, and I have a very good pension, but the pension's in trouble, and, if that tanks, I'm in trouble. You're going to see me at the Mission, playing my horn on the street to make ends meet. I don't want to be struggling. I want to retire and maybe get a little adjunct teaching job. I don't have a degree, so I can't be a real professor anywhere, but I could get an adjunct teaching job at some little college in a nice town where I could live really comfortably. And they would be damn lucky at that. And get that, and then I can teach and I can keep, paying it forward, and be relevant that way. Maybe I still do some recording. Maybe there's composers still working that I work for, and I'll fly in and do a little bit of that work. So, but I don't want to have to. There's a couple of people I know that older musicians that were doing the Oscars. They kind of retired from the business, but kept doing the Oscars because Bill Conti was still conducting it. And there's a flute player that, Louise DiTullio, who was one of the finest flute players LA has ever seen, and played on thousands of movies for John Williams. And they retired, her and her husband, Bernard Dillon, who was a great, great trumpet player as well, somebody I took some lessons with as well. And they retired and they moved to Oregon. They built a house up there and they retired. But she would still come into town for the Oscars, and she practiced. They still practice every day, I think. And I think that, okay, maybe I could do something like that, and still be relevant. And then eventually I just wean myself on. The trumpet has an interesting way of letting you know when it's time to retire. Right. But as long as I continue to play smart, maybe I'll still like Bobby Shew. Maybe I'll still be able to bang these notes out when I'm 70. I'm going, well, do I want to stop? My wife wants me to stop. Yeah. And so that's my plan. I want to stop and enjoy life a little bit.
Well, we hope it doesn't come too soon.
It can't come too soon right now. I still have a lot of things to pay for. So there's a lot of high A's left in my career that I have to play. So
Well, this has been unbelievable, inspiring, and just a lot of fun to just hear you tell stories, tell your career, a little bit of advice, hopefully, how to build a career, what to do, what not to do. And I hope you've enjoyed this as much as we have here at ChopSaver, bringing this to you. And I just want to thank you so much.
Yeah, man, it's been really, really fun, man.
Really.
And thanks for such a great product, man. I love using this stuff. I use it daily. Hi everybody, Wayne Bergeron here, and I want to tell you from day one, I've been using Dan Gosling's ChopSaver. I've tried everything else that's on the market, all the names that you know, as well as some of the things that are made within the industry, and I keep coming back to this. If my chops are swollen or sore, I'll put this on before I go to bed, or even they just need to be moisturized. My wife likes this stuff a lot too. I highly recommend this product for anybody, not just musicians, but anybody with chapped lips or any kind of lip problem. Quality product, and I'm proud to endorse it.